Welcome back to Let It Rip. We're joined now by the incumbent in the race for governor, Governor Snyder here. But tonight, the Republican who calls himself one tough nerd may be in for one tough fight to keep his job. Also back with us, Charles and Charles, attorney anchor Charlie Langton and pioneering reporter Charlie LaDuff. Attorney Langton, you may question the witness.
All right. Thank you, Governor. Yeah, good to see you. Listen, if I just read or just listened to the commercials on television, you want to tax pensions, you want to cut education. I mean, you're being made to look like a pretty mean guy. Are those commercials getting to you?
Well, I keep on waiting to see the one come on and say I caused the Great Depression or last year's winter. I mean, that's the sad part of this. It represents a broken political system to have lies and misrepresentations on the air like that. And one thing, when I ran for office, again, I'm not a career politician, I've tried to act and bring a higher standard of behavior to the political world. That's relentless positive action, where I don't blame people, I don't fight with people, I try to solve problems. And we need more of that in this country. And you can just see it by turning on TV. Let's keep working on raising the standard, because we'd never put up with this kind of stuff in our family or at work, right? If this happened in your family, I bet there'd be some interesting discussions going on.
Are you upset by these commercials?
I try to just remember there's no value in getting negative about it or getting upset about it. I just try to stay focused on solving problems and serving the hardworking people of Michigan.
Charlie.
So you do watch TV, which is not my question. My question is, under your administration, business got 2 big tax breaks. Homeowners, pensioners got tax increases. You promised jobs that haven't arrived beyond fast food, so how do you justify it?
Well, you've been watching those commercials, apparently.
No, it's my own. This is one I would make on you.
Let me put it in context. Let's talk about the tax change to business. Where do jobs come from? They're created by small and medium-sized businesses. They're the job creators. And what we had in Michigan was a totally unfair system. Because in terms of the tax system we had is they pay taxes on their individual income tax return, just like you and I pay on our salary and wages, Charlie. And then what we decided is we're going to put the Michigan business tax on top of that. So the people who create jobs, we want to burden them with a lot more in taxes. That's not how you create jobs. We got rid of that tax, so now they're paying a fair amount. They're paying taxes. And what I would tell you in terms of job creation, we've created nearly 300,000 private sector jobs in the last 4 years. How do we rank? Because we were projected to be 50th. And I'll show you that study that said we were going to be 50th in the country. We had the 13th fastest growth rate for job creation in the country, and we're number 5 in total number of private sector jobs created. Number 5. Compared to being the worst in the country over the last decade. That's good job growth, but there's more to be done, and I'm excited for the future. And in terms of the other reforms, we've made a fairer system. If you talk about pension tax, again, we had an unfair advantage for people that had certain kinds of retirement income. I appreciated they liked that. And I can see why they're upset by it. But what we did in its place is we put in a senior exemption. First of all, we grandfathered anyone that was a senior for that change.
Right, at that time.
And the second thing is we put in a new exemption for all seniors, $40,000 for a married couple for all kinds of income. Because before, a person that was having to work as a senior was paying Michigan income tax, while that person with a pension was paying nothing. That wasn't right. Now they can all exclude $40,000 across the board. So we're helping those working seniors.
Well, you know, everybody on this panel is doing fairly well. We have good jobs. We can save for retirement. But, Governor, even in your ads, you admit that not everybody is feeling the prosperity you promised. So the question is, if you haven't done it in 4 years, why should the voters give you another 4?
Well, again, it's a cycle, Huel. You have to put it in context. We were 50 out of 50. We'd lost more jobs than any other state. We were at the bottom. So you don't have that come back overnight. We've seen tremendous progress. Again, we've talked about job creation. Number 5 in the country for total number of private sector jobs. We had a report last month that came out, the largest increase in home values in the United States. Number 1 in the country was Michigan.
Those are numbers.
Kids are coming back. Well, let's talk about feeling it. Is how many people now know some young person that's now staying here instead of going to Chicago or going south or to New York or California. We're starting to see those kids come back, those young people come back. And that touches you in the heart. Because that's what this is all about in the long term, is creating that environment where people can say their kids can stay in our state, they can raise a family here, and have that tremendous experience that we were fortunate enough to have.
But, Governor, people in Detroit are not graduating from high school. And Detroiters are, if they are working for minimum wage or a little better jobs right now. What do you say to the people in Detroit, a big voting group that are struggling right now? How has it been for them for the last 4 years?
Well, again, that's where I'll ask you the question. You step back and look at it and think of a 4-year period and ask yourself the question, when has the state of Michigan done more to help the city of Detroit in the last 50 years? We've done a lot, and I'm happy to outline it. And I'm not talking Midtown and downtown. We know the excitement there, the passion, how young people are moving in because it's a great place to live in Midtown and downtown. Let's talk neighborhoods, because they have to be included in this, and that's something that is going to take more time. But I'm focusing on it. We've got the street lights going up through the Public Lighting Authority, bipartisan legislation. The trash is being picked up, recycling for the first time, blight removals taking place. Go to Brightmoor and look at some of those neighborhoods. That's accelerating and growing. Public safety, it's down double digits, decrease in violent crime, good things like that. We're doing pathways to potential, where we're putting caseworkers in the local schools. We're seeing chronic absenteeism go down by 1/3. If you look at community ventures, go to Focus Hope, talk to William and the people at Focus Hope. We're doing programs for the structurally unemployed, people that never had that opportunity. Across the state of Michigan, we placed over 2,000 people, 70% retention rate after a year. They're making over $11 an hour. That's not the answer to long term, but then now they're working. Now we can put traditional programs that weren't adequate from the federal government on top of that to give them upward mobility. The area of key priority I'm focused on in the second term is career tech education, the skilled trades. We've got tens of thousands of open jobs available, good, well-paying middle-class jobs. I want Michigan to be #1 in the country to do that, because we broke our system in this country. We told too many people they should go to college, and we didn't equally emphasize that second track. We're going to lead in both those tracks.
Okay, let's go like this then. Keeping with the rich versus poor, Detroit, how you build human capital. DPS has been getting cut year after year after year. It's in emergency status. But we decided to take business property tax revenue and send it over to a billionaire who's got a hockey team to build this stadium. How can you justify taking money that the schools could use to let a billionaire build a hockey arena?
Yeah, basically what we did was hold them harmless in terms of that. So again, we're not taking dollars away from people. That was already in place. That development district.
Yeah, there was a capture.
There was a capture already in place.
You said whatever gets lost, the state will make up, which is I'm making it up. That could go to my school.
Well, let me put it in context.
The guy's got a casino.
Yeah, well, if you look at it and look at that area, and this is where I think it is a very special project, because it wasn't just about an arena. If you looked at Midtown and downtown, we had a disconnect there. Both areas were starting to come back, but we had this area in the middle that was not in great shape.
Understood.
So what this is a glue, a connector between Midtown and downtown. You add M1 on top, and look at the value, the power of what's taking place. It's a whole entertainment district. They're not talking about starting an arena. They're starting to talk about starting a dozen buildings, residential, commercial, industrial, all those kind of opportunities for the community. And that's exciting. And that will pay. That will bring revenue into the city and help grow the city.
But it's a sacrifice the schools, though, to do it? Take money away from the schools?
So again, there was tax capture already in place.
Yeah, so we could let that go and put it back. We could have done that. The schools need the money.
Again, we are supporting the schools. We put a lot more resources in the schools, and we are seeing some success stories. But what I'll tell you in a second term is, as we resolve issues with the city government, I believe we should have more focus on the schools. It's not what I want to see yet either. And so I want to partner with the mayor, the city council, the community, and let's have a dialogue about, are there better solutions for schools in Detroit?
And of course, there's been this big,
any kind of school.
Big debate during the campaign about whether you took $1 billion out of the education budget or put $1 billion back in.
There's no debate, Hugh. The facts are clear.
The bottom line, yes, there is more money that you're spending on education, but a lot of that money is going into shoring up teacher retirement plans. How much of that money is actually showing up in the classroom? That's the bottom line.
Yeah, well, to put that in context, the school boards decide where the money goes, but we allocated additional dollars to help them with the retirement. What that does, in fact, is biased additional money towards traditional public schools at the expense of charter schools. So it actually helps traditional public schools even more. And then ask yourself the question, who's in the classroom? A teacher. And if you want a teacher being effective, isn't it important you have a well-funded retirement system? I mean, that's something they're looking for, counting on, and that cost had gone up dramatically.
Should there be a cap on charter schools? Charter schools are not performing on the level that we hope they would.
Yeah, that's a separate question. What I would say, and I've been very clear about this, and this is something that I want to get much more active on, because it's really been the superintendent at this point, and Mike Flanagan's been doing some good work there. But we shouldn't be just talking about charter schools, about transparency and accountability. Shouldn't we have the same high standard for all our schools? We shouldn't be saying one kind of school is different than the other. We want our kids to be successful regardless of where they're getting educated. Well, let's raise the standard for all schools, charters, traditional schools, and let's make sure we are doing that accountability. If someone's not performing, let's do something about it.
Is teacher tenure a good idea?
We've already made reforms there, Charlie. The area I want to invest in is to help teachers be more successful. We had a great report on increasing teacher effectiveness effectiveness that was done by university deans, educators, and there was a lot of good information about how to help them be more successful because, again, I believe in having a great teacher in the classroom, and I want to support those
Governor,
teachers.
in light of fairness, we want to make sure that everybody has equal time. We thank you for being here. As always,
that was quick.
I know, it goes quickly. I know. Many more questions to come. But of course, we'll be following you all the way, and we hope you will too. Now, you've heard from both candidates, but the question, as Charlie takes the show on the road, is whether voters really know who they're voting for. Can they even recognize the faces and the names on the ballot? Stay with us. Much more to come.